Hello everyone, I'm Santosh Kumar and this is a video related to the introduction of physics, and that in this video we will talk about the general syllabus and the sequence and the chapters that we are going to talk about and their relevance, right? So let's start with this. So the physics we are categorizing into two segments, one for the first year program which is of 11th standard syllabus, and another second year program which is 12th standard syllabus. In 11th standard we will be dividing the entire physics syllabus into three categories. One is mechanics, most of the part will be of this mechanics, and then another segment is going to be wave, and the third will be thermal physics. So mechanics, wave and thermal physics, they combine together will make the first year program. And when you go to the second year, the 12th standard, then the physics syllabus will be in three broad categories: electromagnetism, optics deals with light, and the modern physics. So we will talk about these three segment of physics in second year, these segment of physics in first year, 11th. In physics, broadly we talk about all physical quantities. So physical quantities are something we deal with, and what the physical quantities are, for that thing we can say those quantities which can be measured. So if we can measure a quantity, so and that quantity has a unit, then we call that quantity to be physical quantity. And we will be learning these physical quantities, how we measure them, how we give them unit, how we relate them with the different units. So these things we are going to discuss in physics. So let's go for this 11th or the first year syllabus in detail. The first chapter we will start with the units and dimensions. In this we will talk about the different types of prevailing unit systems and their relations, and the dimensions, how to measure the dimensions, what the utilities and constraints of the dimensions are. So we will talk about, for instance, to just describe this, its relevance. Let's talk about a physical quantity that we know is a speed, and let's say somebody says the speed of an object is 10. We will be not feeling comfortable because this is not a complete information. It could be 10 meter per second, 10 centimeter per second, 10 kilometer per hour, and all will have a different meanings, right? So writing here is very important. So this meter per second is the unit of this physical quantity, right? So until unless we know the unit, the meaning is not relevant. Moreover, different unit will have a different meaning. So that's what we are going to focus on this particular chapter. And similarly, dimensions will be talking about. Dimensions will basically be used for verifying a formula, derivation of a formula, and they will have their own restrictions. We will deal in detail. After learning this first chapter, next we are going to talk about the errors and measurements. Now let's talk about again physical quantity, speed. When we measuring this speed, we need to have some device for measurement. Like if you have a car and moving on that, so the speedometer in the car talks about the speed at any time. So that device is measuring. So we need to know how to measure the physical quantities. And when we are measuring a physical quantity, there may be error in that measurements, because measurement will depend on the preciseness of the device, right? So here the error does not means mistakes. Error is a scientific term, and it basically talks about what the difference is between the actual reading or actual value and measured value. So when we measure something and we know the actual value, there is going to be difference. So this difference is known as error. Measured value can be a bit more than this actual value, and or maybe the less. So we write it a plus, minus, or whatever. So point is, like to minimize the error, what we need to have a measuring instrument more precise. And then we will be learning how we represent these errors, like absolute errors, fractional errors, percentage errors, and what the relations they have. how the errors propagate from one quantity to another quantity, we are going to deal in this thing. So these two chapters will talk about the basic like unit and dimension and measurements. The third chapter is mathematics for physics. For physics, mathematics is its language. So basically in this third chapter we will try to learn the language of physics. And we are not going to talk about the entire mathematics because mathematics in itself is a big subject and the respective teacher will be dealing that. We will be focusing on a few chapters or topics on that. One is the vectors. So we will be learning what the vectors are, how the vectors are being added, subtracted or multiplied. We will also deal in detail with calculus, some part of the calculus rather. And the part of the calculus that we are going to focus is differentiation and integration. So these are the two aspects of calculus we will be dealing in detail. Along with these two concepts like vectors and calculus, some basic mathematics like trigonometry, logs, etc. This has to be understood for calculations in physics, because we know in physics we need to know the concept and calculation. Concept plus calculation completes the physics. So better the maths, better our chances for having better understanding and the results of physics. So maths is a language for physics. So that we are going to deal with. These first three chapters basically trying to make your foundation for studying the physics. And the first core chapter of physics will start with the kinematics. So kinematics is going to be the first chapter that we are going to deal in detail. In this kinematics chapter, we will be describing the motion of a particle or object. In motion, we will be basically focusing on how aspect of the motion, that means how the motion is taking place. Prominent quantities that we'll be dealing is displacement, velocity and acceleration. And we will be trying to find out the relations between them for simplest motion to the complex motion. Simplest motion is a one-dimension motion that you might have covered in previous standard of classes. Like you must be remembering V is equal to U plus AT is very simple and a very common equation, and you have a couple of more equations that discuss one-dimension motion for a constant acceleration. But we will talk about what happens when the acceleration is not constant. Moreover, we will talk about the multi-dimensional, like two-dimensional motion, three-dimensional motion. So we will deal it in detail how the motion is taking place. Particular example of two-dimensional motion is going to be projectile motion in this case. And we will also talk about the relative motion, how the relative motion takes place. And after learning how the motion is taking place, we will go for the next part of it. That's the next chapter, which is called Newton's laws of motion. Sometimes we also call it as a dynamics of particle. And in this case, we will talk about y aspect of motion. Again, we will talk about the motion, but we will be talking why the motion is taking place. That means we will be worrying about the cause behind the motion. And if you are considering any motion, cause behind the motion is force, so we will deal with the force in detail. And there will be a number of types of forces like gravitation force, string force, which we call as a tension, spring force, frictional force, and other forces. And there is going to be a popular equation F equal to m into a. That's a Newton's law. You know 3 laws of Newton's. And even if you don't know, we will be discussing them in detail under this chapter. And this small but most important equation will be connecting the chapter kinematics to dynamics. That means it will be connecting both aspects of motion, how and why. Because this is the cause behind the motion, this is the motion description, right? So once we know A, we can go to the velocity, we can go to the displacement. So these two chapters together will be dealing with the motion, your kinematics as well as dynamics aspect. Then we will talk about the next chapter, chapter number 6, and it is going to be work, energy and power. In this chapter we will be defining these three quantities. Work in general is defined as integration F dot dr. Now if we look this definition properly, then we will finding this is using the previous chapter, all the previous chapters. Force is dynamics part of the motion, dr, that's the displacement, is the kinematics. Vectors we are using here, dot product and integration, that means mathematics, and this is going to have a unit in dimension and measurement, so they are using other things. So that's how the work is being defined. Basically what we are trying to learn in this we are going to learn in this particular chapter is how to combine all those knowledge of kinematics and dynamics to find out another way of representing the same thing. And after learning the work, we will talk about the energy, basically mechanical energy. That's of two types: kinetic energy and potential energy. Various type of potential energy we will talk about. We will talk about different types of forces, conservative, non-conservative, and all that thing. Then we will talk about the power. Power is going to be the work done per unit time and other aspects of it. So we are going to deal with that in detail. So basically, sixth chapter will provide us an alternative to deal with kinematics and dynamics together. And then the next chapter, circular motion, is going to be a special type of motion. Motion we have already talked about, but it's going to be a special type of motion. We will talk about both aspects, how and why. In this case, one important aspect of the motion is going to be that the particle will always be moving on a circle. That means if the particle is located here, let's say this P is representing as a particle and the center is origin, so the displacement of the particle will have same magnitude all the time, and we can assume that's your x direction or a reference direction. So to describe this motion of the particle in a circle, we can use the displacement, velocity and acceleration as we discuss in the kinematics. But instead of using these set of variables which are called linear parameters, we are going to use the angular parameters like angular displacement, angular velocity, angular acceleration. These new set of parameters will make this motion description very easy. And along with this description of motion, we will also talk about the dynamics like centripetal force, centripetal acceleration, and tangential acceleration and other aspects and forces. So that's going to be a particular type of motion. And after this, understanding this motion, 8th chapter will bring new thing in understanding. It's named as the center of mass, linear momentum and collision. Now till now we were talking about a single particle. In all the chapters we talked about the single particle and its motion and its description and cause behind motion and everything. Now what if there are collection of several particles? So let's say there are n number of particles and they are subjected with several forces and we need to talk about their motions. So if the number of particles are more, we know how to handle one particle, so we can try for handling all the particles. But if the number of particles becomes too large, it will become very complex or difficult for us to talk about all the particles. So in that case, we are not going to use each individual particle separately. Rather, what we are going to deal with is we will be finding an alternate method to deal that. We will be considering a hypothetical position such that we can assume the entire mass of the particle is located at that particular location, and that particular location will be known as center of mass. And instead of dealing these particles individually, we will be considering the center of mass as a single particle, and we can apply all the rules that we learned till the chapter number 7 on that, and we can find out the motion of the center of mass. Once we are able to find the motion of center of mass, then we will be able to connect the motion of center of mass with the motion of each and individual particles. Hence we will be able to find out the motion of each and all particles separately just by understanding the center of mass. So center of mass is going to be very important for us to deal with number of particles together. And then there's going to be next topic called linear momentum. Linear momentum is written by P and it's mass into velocity. It's basically indicator of velocity. So the concept important is going to be conservation of linear momentum. We will deal that. Then after, since we are considering n number of particles together, then it's logically valid that the particles are going to meet sometime or other. So when the two particles are meeting, that's called collision, and this collision we are going to deal with in this chapter. That means we will be learning what happens when the two particles interact and how their velocities and motions are affected. So that will be giving us glimpse inside the interaction between the particles. So 8th chapter is going to be very important for understanding in deeper or going beyond one particle to collection of particles. To move that story further, the next chapter is going to come, that's called rotational mechanics, an important chapter. In this chapter we will talk about rigid bodies. Rigid bodies. So if we consider a rigid body, that's going to be collection of several particles again. But in this case, the collection of particles will be such that they will be rigidly bound. So when the collection is of this particular type, that becomes the rigid body, and we will be discussing that mechanics of rigid body. Sometimes this chapter is also called rigid body dynamics or mechanics. Here prominent quantities or that we are going to discuss is going to be moment of inertia, torque, angular parameters that we have earlier talked about, angular momentum, generally we write it by letter L, angular momentum conservation, writing the kinetic energy, translatory motion, rotational motion, rolling motion, toppling, and another similar types of topics we are going to cover in this. So that's going to be very, very important chapter to connect physics with the practical life. After learning this rotational mechanics, we will be going to again a specific chapter called gravitation that related to mass. And we know this force applied by the earth on the particles is mg, and g is a particular number. How this g comes, we will be discussing here. We will trying to find out how g is coming as 9.81, how g is affected when we go inside, outside the earth, or maybe what the effects is in because of rotation and other aspects. We will also talk about how these planets are stable or having a particular motion, how the satellites are moving, and how these stars are arranging themselves, and all will be governed by the formula given by the Newton, F is equal to g m1 m2 upon r square. Right, so that will be dealt in gravitation. Again, going to be an interesting and important chapter for our course. So after this 10th chapter, we will be moving to the next chapter, 11th. So this next chapter is fluid mechanics. In fluid mechanics, we will be dealing with liquids and gases. So here we will be talking about the liquids and gases. Now we know if we talk about liquid, most obviously or easily available liquid is water, or gas for that sake. These are also collection of particles, but they are loosely connected. These are non-rigid bodies, and they have a different phase called liquid and gases. Here we will be talking about some important concepts. Some of the concepts you might have heard earlier, like Pascal's law, Archimedes principle, and other things. We will also talk about some Bernoulli equation, continuity equation, and other important aspects. Here we will be considering this mechanics. We will considering the static part of it and dynamic part of it. So it will be like fluid statics and fluid dynamics, and we will be covering in this particular chapter. That's going to be again interesting. And next is going to be elasticity. Elasticity is going to be a chapter in which we will talk about those bodies which can be deformed. Like if we consider this rubber object or ball, and if we squeeze it, it gets deformed. When we remove the force, it regains its original configuration. So they are basically non-rigid in nature, right? But they are solid but non-rigid. So this will be these type of objects will be dealt in this elasticity chapter. Now if you think how we have proceeded, there is a logical sequence in which we are moving. We talked about a particle and its motion, the cause, the motion, its energy, its momentum, everything related to this. Then we dealt with several type of particles considering together. Then we talked about the particular type of this collection in which they were rigid body, that's rotational. Then they were liquid or gas in fluid mechanics, and they are non-rigid in nature, that is elastic, which is in 12th. So after considering these 12 chapters, you should be able to connect each and every object that we see in real life with these theories, how they are following the rules that we have studied over here. The more you connect, better understanding you will gain over the time. And after learning this 12th, we will move to the 13th chapter, which is simple harmonic motion. It's a particular type of motion again. And in this particular type of motion, we will be having particular set of solutions, and we will be using those solutions. So that's going to be again motion aspect. And just to illustrate further, is the motion in which acceleration is going to be variable, and it depends on the position from the center, or you can say displacement, and its opposite in direction. Whenever this kind of acceleration you will find that motion is going to be simple harmonic motion. It will have its own types, like we will have a angular harmonic motion. We will also have a simple pendulum, physical pendulum, torsional pendulum, and n type of variable cases we are going to deal in this simple harmonic motion case. And that's very important chapter in physics, because this chapter can be linked to any of the other chapter. After this 13th chapter, we will be moving to the very new concept called wave. Now till 13th chapter, starting from the kinematics, this is called mechanics. And after this in this mechanics, we deal with particle and collection of particle or bodies. Now wave is entirely different aspect. It is very different than the particle. So what happens in a particle, if we deal with this, let's say we have a particle of mass m, we have given a velocity, and after certain time it reaches to location B and moving. When it goes from A to B, we can say we have transferred energy, we have transferred momentum from A to B. But for sake of this transferring energy and momentum, particle has to go from A to B. But for the wave to do the same, it is not needed that the medium or the mass moves. So wave can transmit energy or momentum from a location to another location without causing the mass or the material to move from A to B. So because of this unique properties, waves are very important in our daily life. So we will be trying to understand what the waves are, how we write the equation of wave, what their quantities are, how to describe them, how waves meet, what happens when multiple waves meet together, and how the energy and momentum is being transmitted. We will talk about all aspects. One of the example of wave is a sound wave. So we will be dealing with the sound wave in detail. And another example, a most important example of wave is light. Light will be dealt in optics. So that part of optics in which we consider this wave is known as a wave optics. It will be making the part of 12th syllabus. Fine. So that's the 14th chapter. And the last chapter is 15th, in which we will talk about a thermal physics. That means thermal means related to the temperature. So physics related to temperature will be dealt separately. And in this we will have a certain topics like thermal expansion. It talks about the increase in size of objects when they are heated. And we will talk about heat per se. We will talk about heat transfer, how the heat transfer takes place. You might have heard about there are modes of heat transfers like conduction, convection, and radiation. We will talk about calorimetry, in which we will talk about what happens when different type of different temperature bodies are mixed together. And then we will talk about the KTG, how temperature influences the gases, so kinetic theory of gases we will talk about in detail. And finally we will talk about thermodynamics. In thermodynamics we will talk about various laws of thermodynamics and how that thermodynamics takes place. So we will be dealing that thing in detail in thermal physics. So these are going to be the chapters, and this is going to be the sequence on which these chapters we are going to deal with, right? So there's a logical sequence we are going to follow. For 12th syllabus, this sequence will be moving ahead and covering the next segment of it. So just revise it and keep in mind this holistic structure, and we will be dealing each and every chapters in detail, having a lot of practice, and will make sure that you are learning once and for all. And this learning will last not only for this examination but for whole of your life, because these things are related to the practical, and you need to keep that thing in mind. Okay, so thank you for watching. Have a great time.